be able to have the Berit Milah on a timely manner. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam She'akol Nihiyah B'Baruch.
Amen.
Beautiful. So we're going to resume our learning of the Omer. Now we're going to go to the day number 11. The Sefirah, let's call it this emotional attribute of today's day. It's called Nesach Sheva Gevura. That means that today is Hakavinu, which is the host of this week's second week of the Omer, welcomes Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom. So one of the things that we learn, says the Hafetz Haim, quoting a Gemara, I'll tell you right away the source. Gemara, actually a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. The Mishnah writes, "Lo matzati laguf tov ella mishetika." They ask one of the sages. They says, "You were raised and surrounded constantly by Hachamim. Can you tell me one area that you saw them working on constantly?" What the Mishnah says, "Lo matzati laguf tov ella mishetika." I did not find the best, let's call it treatment or remedy or therapy for the body like the power of silence. We have discussed this topic in the past. How beautiful is the power of silence. Silence is golden, they say. As long as you are quiet, you are the king. Once you speak, you got to deal with the consequences of the words. We know this. But listen to what the Hafetz Haim writes in Shemirat al-Lashon Shara Tebuna, and it says that sometimes a person takes upon themselves a fast day. There is such a concept, that a person takes upon themselves a fast day. For whatever reason it may be. Maybe because you have a yortzeit, and there is a concept written in the halacha that used to be a tradition that when a person has the yortzeit of a parent does ta'anit that day, or a person wants to do ta'anit Erev Rosh Hashanah, which is brought down in the halacha, or a person wants to do ta'anit during the period of the Shovavim, which many people used to do back in the olden days, Mondays and Thursdays, and all that has enough halachic backup and foundation, and perhaps scattered throughout the world, maybe people who do this today. But comes the Hafetz Haim and it says, instead of taking yourself a physical type of fasting, take upon yourself a fasting of your speech. What does that mean? Ta'anit dibur. There are two types of fast. Ta'anit tzom, the regular fast day that we don't eat, Tisha B'Av, Kippur, Ta'anit Esther, etc. But those are halachically required fast days. But it says in Hafetz Haim that when a person takes a ta'anit of not speaking, and by the way, thousands of people do this on the day of Yom Kippur. There are people all over the world that the day of Yom Kippur they don't talk. It's not easy at all.
Yeah. Me.
Chazak Baruch. Temporat Yosef. My father, alav shalom, used to do it as well. I knew many people in my younger years that in the day of Kippur they don't talk. Yani one day they're gonna devote it completely to God. And if you have to say something, say words of Torah, Tehillim, praying, etc. And you can bid for aliyot as well. We'll let you do that in the holiday. Okay? But why? Because not to eat is easy. How many times it goes by that we don't eat for many hours? And we manage. But not to talk for an hour, see how difficult it is. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's challenging. That's what the Hafetz Haim says. Not easy.
The guy starts a conversation, you just walk away.
I knew someone many years back that when he came to pray to the synagogue, he had a made-up card in 3 languages. I saw this in Sha'arei Sion in 5 languages. In Sha'arei Sion, if you go to Hacham Yaakov, Rabbi Maslaton, the green room, right across from the social hall, right?
Yeah.
I saw a beautiful sign. Maybe I should have it for me also. And it says in 5 different languages, don't disturb the rabbi during prayers. Most likely this is done for those that are coming to collect. So they wrote it in English, in Spanish, in Hebrew, in Yiddish, in French, maybe in Arabic as well. So I knew a fellow that whenever he will come to the synagogue, in front of his kolacha, he will have a made-up card that says, I would love to talk to you, but now I'm talking to God. So I'll talk to you after prayers outside of the synagogue. It's not easy. Even it happens to me often. Sometimes people come and talk to me during the Hazara. And from childhood I learned that during Hazara, during the Safra, during Birkat Kohanim, we don't talk. So the first thing I ask, is it an emergency? If it's an emergency, call Salah. That's number 1. And if it's not an emergency, wait till the prayer is finished so I'm able to talk. Because if I talk during the Hazara, what example I'm giving to you? And it's not easy. So comes the Hafetz Haim, Omehila. There was a great Hacham that the Kahal probably remembered him. His name was Rabbi Haim Pinchas Scheinberg. Remember him? He was a petite rabbi that looked very bulky because he wore many sisit katan. How many sisit katan do you wear? How many sisit katan I wear? 1. He will wear maybe, who knows, 50, 60, 70, who knows? I don't know, but it was thick. It was very bulky. So it says, part of his biography, that for 60 years on Shabbat he did not speak unless were words of Torah and prayer.
For 60 years.
For 60 years. And that's what we're talking about him, and they're not talking about us.
Sat with next to him on the table.
I met him a few times. I met him a few times. I met him here, I met him in Israel. Holy man. Very holy man. Sure, of course he came to all over. Very holy man, holy man. So therefore, you know what the message of today is? Because Devora means what? Although the word Devora means strength, but Devora also means restraint. Devora also means discipline. Devora also means self-control. So you know what the exercise of today is? For 5 days, for 5 minutes, not 5 days, forget about it. For 5 minutes, don't speak. Try it. You know what? You can do it now. Until I finish the class, don't talk. You see, don't the last 2 seconds.
He failed.
He's a comedian.
I want to complain.
I know. We give you another chance. All right? Now, and the next exercise will be, after these first 5 minutes, believe me, they're going to be the longest 5 minutes of your life, probably. Believe me, I've tried this in the past, and believe me, the clock doesn't move. I tried it. The next exercise will be, think before you speak. I used to be a teacher in the Ketab. When we were young kids in the Talmud Torah, in the school, he used to tell us all the time, think before you speak. And it is true. How many times, by not thinking, we just open our mouth and suddenly, you're not alone in the boat. I think of a lot of companionship on that class, on that topic of not thinking. And that's one of the messages that the Sefirah of today gives us. Number 1. Number 2, when you need to make peace with people, Sometimes people go into situations, into arguments, and what happens? Although the argument lasted a limited amount of time, the person still holds a grudge inside of them, and they don't talk. And they don't talk. For how long? I don't know. I told you the story the other day. Two people don't talk for 25 years. And I asked one of them, why? What prompted such a thing? He says, I don't remember. He says, Ribono shel Olam, half of your life went without talking with someone. You never made the effort of at least the second half of your life. It should be a bit more meaningful. And guess what it says here today? Look at the long-term benefit of relationships. That we have hiccups, mehila. Who doesn't have hiccups? Baruch Hashem, I'm happy. Who doesn't have hiccups in life? Starting with marriage at home. Doesn't matter how many years you married. It's like the stock market. Sometimes it's very good, sometimes it's not good, sometimes stable, and we try to hopefully improve our relationship. Another type of discipline now has nothing to do in my godly relationship, because I believe that I think that is important that I should say this. The Gemara writes in Masechet Holin, this belongs to the first statement on the self-control of speaking. The Gemara writes a pasuk from Iyov that says, Tole eres al belima. God suspends the world on the one that controls their mouth. What does it mean? The Gemara says, En ha'olam mitkayem, ela bishvil ze shebolem piv b'sha'at meriba. The Gemara in Hulin writes, I believe that's the source, that the world sustains itself for that day in the merit of those that in the moment of argument they are able to restrain themselves and not to escalate the discussion or the bickering or the fighting, which is a tool of the Yetzer Hara. A person says something that we didn't like. I can answer back with a boomerang. And that's why, how does the pasuk calls the speech of the person, the tongue of the person, hetz leshonam, an arrow. I don't have to be next to you to shoot an arrow. The arrow has the benefit of distance. I can be far away, I can shoot the arrow, and I travel I don't know how many feet. That's what the pasuk calls the tongue of the person. You know, so the Gemara writes, a person who has the intelligence and the self-discipline or restraint to say, you know what, I'm not going to lower myself to start arguing. I'm going to stay quiet. And guess what? The opposite, the other person may say, why can't you say something? Maybe to that person, the fact that we don't answer back may appear a sign of weakness. But guess what? You see this sign that says, special breakfast today sponsored by, in Shamayim, says the Gemara, they have a sign like this. And it says, the existence of the world today has been sponsored by Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. What do? They stay quiet in the moment that they could have reacted. That's called nesach. Nesach in Hebrew not only means long-term, nesach means victory. Victory. Victory against whom? Against the Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer Hara loves balagan. The Yetzer Hara loves troubles.
Especially on Friday.
Especially Friday afternoon. That's what the halakha writes. It says Friday afternoon is the anniversary of the debut of the Yetzer Hara in the world. That's what the halakha writes. And every Friday afternoon he says he looks for customers. I'm sure the Yetzer Hara is afraid of you, but he's not afraid of me, believe me. New customers and repeat customers. Why Friday afternoon is such a critical time, the halakha says? Because that was the time of Adam and Hava. The moment that Adam and Hava did what they did was a Friday afternoon. He wants to celebrate. He says, who is going to be my customer today? Goes further. And it says, now, do something for yourself. What does it mean? Do something for myself. It says, look at your life and sees what area of life that I'm doing that I should stop doing it. For example, smoking. I don't smoke, Baruch Hashem. But some people smoke. And many people say, don't smoke, I vape. They don't know that vaping is no less dangerous than smoking. More dangerous according to statistics. So don't start with that. Don't smoke, don't vape, don't drink, don't try gummy bears with ashgaha, CBD, and all these things that are there. Don't try them. How popular they may be in the world, stay away from them. I don't know how to call them in the street. I think they call them brownies, right? You're familiar with this? Baruch Hashem, you should not be familiar with this. Yeah, CBD with ashgaha you have today. It's not good. Stay away from it. Unless the doctor prescribes it for specific medicinal reasons. But don't resort to those kinds of things. It says, you know why? Because the word addiction, regretfully, is a word that is alive and well in our days. All over the world. All over the world. And anything addictive, especially from the negative side, it has a long-term effect on the person. Not only on the don't drink and drive motto, that's obviously. But even if you don't drive and you drink and you become friendly with alcohol, believe me, you go into the group of people that God does not like. One of the groups that God does not like is the person that succumbs to the temptations and the addictions, especially of alcoholism. Because it takes over your life. Doesn't let the person function properly. It affects the body, it affects the spirit. I'm not referring an occasional lechaim or a Shabbat or a holiday with control and measures. Not overdoing. There is no humbra in getting drunk. The Rambam writes in one of the commentaries of the Perashah that says, Naval Birshut HaTorah. What does it mean? The Torah allows the person to drink. The Torah, sure, don't you drink wine for a dus? Don't you drink wine? We're going to do the Berit Milah in a few moments. I need to wrap this up quickly. I don't want Eliyahu Navi to say, I came, you were not there. So I'm going to make sure to greet him soon. So come with me if you like. I'll finish in the next 3 or 4 minutes. I told him I'll be there 5 to 10. So we say the Baruch She'amar every day. Baruch Omer Be'oseh. Blessed be the one who says and does. I don't want to have the whole Kahal and the Mohel waiting, but I'll wrap this up very quickly. The Ramban Nachmanides explains that even though there are many things that are permissible and allowed by the Torah, that doesn't mean that you're going to take advantage of it. For example, a person needs to sleep at night. You must sleep. Doesn't matter who you are. Some people sleep more, some people sleep less. But if you're going to stay up all night up learning, let's say, for example, right? I'm not referring Shavuot, Hoshana Rabbah, the nights that we do it together as a community, as a Jewish world. But a person wants to do on a regular basis, that person needs to make a shikul da'at. You need to make a certain level of accounting. Okay, I'm going to stay up all night learning Torah. The next question is, what's going to be my shaharit prayer tomorrow morning? You understand? What's going to be with the rest of the stuff that I need to do? Even though that the Torah is telling us, learn Torah, but sometimes the Yetzer Hara says, learn more, learn more, learn more, and then get up. What happens? The next morning, you can pray, you can function, you can take your kids to the Talmud Torah, whatever you needed to do cannot be done, And that's why the Ramban says also about drinking. The Torah allows you to drink. We say Kiddush, Havdalah, Hubbah, Shiva Berachot, of course 4 cups of Pesach, but that's only once a year. Pesach is not every day. Don't be mahmir. So then the person says, if the Torah allows me to drink, why can I drink every day? Because you start drinking every day, you're becoming an extension of the Yetzer Hara. It affects your body, it affects your soul. It affects your brain, and it affects your environment.
Other people.
Your wife, your children, like gambling. No, it's fun. Okay, nobody says it's not fun. Baruch Hashem, I don't know how to gamble, so thank God. I'm blessed for that. Somebody wanted to talk to me the other day. Said, Rabbi, let me teach you. I said, I'm not interested to teach me. What I need to know, I know how to learn. And I'm not saying having fun is not good. Have fun. But God forbid the person develops an addiction and goes to casinos or gambles online and all these things. How many disastrous stories we have heard throughout the years that people, God forbid, they lose their home, they lose the family, they lose the marriage, they lose the children, they lose everything. Why? Because of the lack of self-restraint. And that's the Sefirah of today. Today, when you're going to stop doing something, it's not only the benefit of today, it's the long-term benefit, because we don't grow and we don't mature overnight. It's a process. Like God created the world in a week, like a person grows gradually, that's how our life is. But Baruch Hashem, we have the benefit of having access.
When I moved from one city to another, I started smoking. I was smoking 3
Packages a day.
My wife, every day she'd
Push you.
push me.
Not to.
3 months after, 6 months after, I stopped.
Chazak Baruch. You are lucky and you're a holy man, and your wife, Aliyah Shalom, was a very special lady. I remember her. But guess what? Thank God you're around to tell us that story. How many people, God forbid, because of excessive smoking, Chaz v'Shalom, I don't want to finish the sentence. Okay? And I'm not talking about the guy that is sporadically. I'm talking about the people who become a chimney. And they smoke constantly. Or they drink constantly. So this topic has no end. I think that the message of the Sefirah of today, it's loud and clear. Let's enjoy life within the parameters of normalcy,
Amen.
Of self-control, of restraint. And Be'ezat Hashem, we're going to see now Eliyahu Navi in a few moments. You're coming with us? Faddalu. Eliyahu Navi, I think, is going to see you very happy, because you're a Kohen Gadol, and he's Eliyahu Navi, and I'm the rabbi. We have a Bet Din already. We can tell them, stay, don't go back. Maybe you can hold him up. I tried to speak to him in the past. For some reason, he tells me, I'm busy, Rabbi. I got to go to Australia, I got to go to Brazil, got to go to Brooklyn. Tizkor Yeshanim Rabot, everybody. Shavua Tov Mevorach. Thank you, Itzi Ginsberg and family from Toronto, for sponsoring a magnificent breakfast today. Le'ilun Nishmat, his beloved grandfather, Gershon Ben Yaakov Alav Shalom. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lezakot et Israel lefichach.